Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. Seb here, and today I want to talk about whether animal rights activists should be concentrating on changing individuals, such as consumer habits, or institutions. This is a really important topic in my opinion, so please stay until the end of the video before you go ahead and share your opinion. I really want to hear what everybody has to share, but I also want to make sure that you understand where I stand before sharing something about what I'm saying. Before we get into it, I want to ask you please to subscribe and hit the notification button to stay up to date with all these videos, and if you are also using other social media platforms, feel free to follow me there as well. Now, I think the reason why I decided to make this video is because there seems to be a very polarized stance in the movement when it comes to this subject. Some people are saying we should only concentrate on systemic change, changing institutions. They're saying they will no longer hold people accountable for their actions. Some others are saying that consumers have the only power, therefore we should only concentrate on that. I know very few people who actually say that balance is the right way to go. But I do think it's an important conversation, and since most of the time, thanks to social media's polarizing nature, these conversations don't go as expected, I thought, well, how about we have it on my channel, and feel free to share your stance in the comment section below. So to begin with, let's talk about consumerism. Consumers are, in my opinion, extremely important because they are the ones who are bringing the money. Okay, no matter what industry we're talking about, the power of the consumer cannot be underrated and should not be underrated. It's very important to keep them in mind because as long as there's a demand for something, someone somehow is going to provide a supply. Okay, even when you look at forbidden stuff, illegal stuff, guns, drugs, as long as there's a demand, the consumer is there, someone is going to supply. So that being said, are the consumers the only people who are driving the force behind the industry of animal exploitation? I would argue that no, they are not the only driving force because the institutions behind it have a massive power as well, and they should not be underrated. And the way that these industries have power is really, really mind-blowing. They have gotten their way into the medical industry, the health industry. They've gotten their way to get into the educational industry, therefore the schools, universities, where they're paying teachers and the programs to actually talk about, for example, dairy and how important it is. And they've obviously gotten their way into the industry of advertisements and things like that. And of course, politics. Now, the result of all of this is that we have teachers telling us that this is the right thing to do, and doctors telling us that this is the right thing to do, and a whole political background where we find subsidies and other programs that help this industry. However, my problem with people who say that we should concentrate on the industry and changing the institutions is that the institutions are just following the money. And yes, there's a lot of money in subsidies, but if a huge part of the population is saying no to this actively, I would say that something would change. I would also not agree with people who are saying we should only focus on individuals, because as long as you're trying to keep up with the individuals, you're not gonna be able to convert as many people as you should in order to reach a percentage of vegans in the population to have a massive impact. I think that's extremely unrealistic to think that consumer change can be the leading cause of the change, of any possible change in the future. To take one example, it's almost impossible to keep up with the population growth. You would have to make a ridiculous amount of people go vegan all around the world in order to try to keep up with the population growth that we have today. That being said, I do find a massive ethical issue in the idea of no longer holding people accountable because you want to concentrate on institutions. I think if you have been following my channel long enough, you know that I do not believe that this should be one way or the other. I think that there's a huge problem with that. I believe that people should concentrate on what they're good at, but also evaluate their activism and see how effective it is. So unfortunately, I've seen on both sides, but more so on the side of people who want to concentrate on institutions and system change, which I obviously fully support, that they will not even have the conversation with individuals anymore because the individuals are not the problem and it's the institution. And I think there's a massive ethical issue in here. One thing that I like to do, which a lot of you know, is checking if there's an ethical or logical consistency or inconsistency in my or someone else's actions. So if we take the example of, let's say, racism or sexism, and you live in a certain country where there's systemic racism or sexism, as a result, there's obviously a lot of individuals who engage in racism and sexism or profit from it. In that case, would you say that you will not ask sexists or racists to stop being sexist or racist? Would you not try to change them because you want to concentrate on the institution? No. I'm pretty sure what you would do is try to change them while actively also trying to change the industry. And this doesn't mean that you would have to take a certain amount of time from your week and dedicate that to changing individuals. I'm not saying do that, but just never say that you will not hold individuals accountable or even have a conversation with them, because there's obviously a responsibility in that as well. And if we live in a society where there's systemic racism or sexism, or in our case here speciesism, we have to challenge both the individual and the institutions. Because to think that you can achieve change and success and victory by only concentrating on one and not both at the same time, I believe is extremely illusional, but also extremely unethical, because you are no longer asking people to take ethical actions and kind of being apologetic about their actions just because there is institution and systemic discrimination as well. So that is the main point that I wanted to share with you here. I do believe that both type or even more types of activism are important and should be worked on. I don't believe anyone should stop doing individual change activism. I don't believe anyone should stop doing system-based actions. But please don't ever say that you would not challenge individuals just because they're not a problem, all right? Yes, they are a victim of the system, but they're also a tool of the system that is being used by the system in order to discriminate and exploit these animals. And if we believe that we should get rid of the system, we should also make sure to get rid of the tools, because if the tools are there, another system will come in place and use those tools to continue discriminating, no matter what kind of discrimination or oppression we're talking about. That's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to comment in the comment section below and let me know what you think. I really appreciate hearing back from you all, and I am really interested in knowing how you all feel about this. If you would like to support my work, please check out my website SEBALEX.org. You can also check out ethicsoverhabits.com for vegan, fair trade and organic merchandise. Don't forget to please subscribe and hit the notification button. I will see you in the next video.